All right, and we are back to Purposeful Woman podcast. Today we have Kimberly Maska. She is the publisher of Spiritual Biz Magazine, founder of Spiritual Biz Coaching Certification program, the publisher for authors dedicated to shifting consciousness. She is a two-time international bestseller author. With her books, she uses her 20 years of business development experiences, including 8 years on Wall Street, to show spiritual coaches how to make money while they meditate. Well, welcome, Kimberly.
Thank you so much for having me.
I just loving it saying that to make money while you meditate. It just gives me like this such a good inspirational energy.
Yes.
Well, tell us more about how did you become a founder of a spiritual business magazine? And I'm curious to learn a history of that slogan.
Yeah, the history of the slogan is fun. So I have this background. I was working on Wall Street, so that very corporate thing. And you ever have that job that is just sucking your soul dry? Well, that was me. And it was fun, and I wouldn't trade the experience for anything, but it was just not my purpose. I remember at some point, like I was eating too much, I was drinking too much, my hair was falling out, I wasn't sleeping. It's like every Sunday night I would lay there just eyes wide open, exhausted, but just going, oh my God, I have to get up in the morning and deal with this. I had a boss that was, I think he was probably officially bipolar. I don't know if he was ever diagnosed that way, but some days you would go into the office and he would be like super funny, one of the funniest people you could ever meet. And then the next day you'd go in and he'd be screaming bloody murder at you for whatever, calling you every name in the book. And it was just not a healthy environment for me at all. And so I made the leap. It was a huge decision. I was terrified to leave because I was making all of this money and I was living the life. Like everyone's like, oh, you're so successful. But I was so miserable. And so it took me a while to get the nerve up to actually do it. I had my plan, like, how am I going to make money? What am I going to do? And I actually really didn't know. But one day I was just like, I just really can't do it anymore. It took me 6 months to work up the nerve to finally say, I'm leaving. And it's crazy because I was actually a partner at the company. So I had built this company from nothing to $165 million company. And so it was like a baby. I had to let it go. So I finally worked up the courage to say, I'm out of here. And I'd love to say that it was super easy and I found my purpose, but I bounced around for several years and I did things like flipping houses and different real estate stuff. And I created a music distribution company with a friend, which did not go well. That was not a good thing. But then it finally clicked, and it clicked for me when my mom was transitioning to the other side. She was very sick, and I had just been really getting into more spiritual stuff. Like I've always been very intuitive. Like being able to manifest my dream life has been very, that's like easy for me, but it kind of has. Like everyone's like, your life is so blessed because I can see things and they just come in. But now I was getting really into like more of the spiritual part of it. Because my mom was an incredible healer, but her gift was like hidden because it was looked at as something bad. And so I started down my path as she was transitioning to the other side. And I started meeting all of these incredible healers. And I'm like, wow, more people need to know about you. Because I started to think, what if my mom had known more about the practices, about being relaxed and not living in our past? And I'm like, if she had known that, she probably could have saved her own life and lived longer. And so I would tell the healers, like, oh, well, why don't more people know about you? And they're like, I'd have to create a business. I don't know how to do that. I'm like, I know how to do that. And so it kind of all came together. And then I realized it's actually my intuitive gift to see someone's business and see what they need to be doing. So and I didn't realize that was a gift until I started doing this, and it all kind of came together. And so now my sole purpose is to help spiritual healers and leaders and everyone who's got a gift who wants to shift consciousness on this planet, to help them create a business that feels good, not just this left brain do, but really is integrated with the spiritual beings that we are, so that we can go out and serve on this planet.
I love that. Oh my gosh, it so resonates with me. I was also in New York and like miserable, lost myself, and then found myself in more spirituality. So I'm just like really resonating with you, and I'm sure a lot of our audience will be as well. My question for you, what would you do differently with the information that you know now? If everything that you know now, what would you do differently back then?
I would have listened to my higher self, that connection, that ping, that knowing. I mean, I knew I had to leave. Like you, and your body's telling you, right? We don't we're not awake enough yet, or we start to question ourselves. We don't realize that our body is speaking to us in every single moment. How is it
Yep.
feeling? What emotion are you like holding on to? And if I had just paid more attention to that, I would have left way before that. I would have just followed on my path and been like, no, so I could be in my joy. But yeah, I didn't trust myself. And so it's that trusting of that little voice, that feeling. And now when I do that, I've learned the universe gives me signs. And I'm trying to have gotten it down to the fact where I only need 2 signs. I don't need 3 or 4 or 5 to finally make the decision. I look for 2. So whenever I see a pattern of 2s, I'm like, what am I supposed to be paying attention to that I'm not? So I'm really aware of when something repeats itself so that I can really listen to my higher self, connect with my higher self, and make the right decisions.
Oh, I love that. That is body. It's our like little GPS. Oh, no,
Yes.
not little. It's actually a big GPS in life. What would you give us as an advice to everybody who is in your expertise, spiritual entrepreneurs?
It's for spiritual entrepreneurs. I think the thing that holds everyone back is the fear of stepping out and saying, I'm a spiritual leader. Like that's a really big thing, especially if their families aren't on board with it, or a spouse, or they're like, what do you mean? Because they think it's kind of like a joke, and they think that it's just a thing or a hobby, but that understanding that you really do have a gift. And if you've been through your awakening, that means you have something to share with people. You have something to teach. That's why you had your awakening. All those horrible experiences we've all gone through, we went through them because that's what we're supposed to teach. So we have to realize that, yes, you can make a business of it. Easy peasy. I have clients, 6 figures and plus, that are doing that because they finally stepped out with their gifts and who they are. So just don't let all the naysayers get in your way. Just know that you have a gift and this is what you're meant to do, and just take the leap.
I was muted. I was just saying, I was just laughing. I absolutely love what you said. I was just laughing. It just came back to my mind. We were just laughing with my VA the other day, and I said, we need to make an apparel and said, you muted. It's like the favorite phrase of the 2020, the most common phrase. Yeah, and I'm like, myself, I'm muted. All right, so I have a last question for you.
Great.
I have a last question for you that I ask everybody on the podcast, and it sounds like it. Finish the sentence for me, please. If you really knew me, you will know that I am.
I am someone who laughs all the time. Like,
I see
it's
that.
actually sometimes when I shouldn't, which is every now and then I'm like, oops, but you would know that like I'm pretty much always in my joy, and I'm always laughing, and I see the brighter side of things, and life is amazing. It's a game, and it's a game, so I'm gonna have fun at this game.
I love that. I can totally confirm that. Before podcast, we were just laughing nonstop. All right. So, how our audience can find you and get more of you and learn more from you?
Yeah, they can go, of course, my website, which is KimberlyMaska.com. I have a podcast. It's called Becoming a Spiritual Entrepreneur. And then I have a free gift if they want to go check out at Spiritual Biz, that's BIZ success.com. And they can hear some of the mindset shifts that I work with on my clients. It's the 5 shifts to a 6-figure spiritual business. So they can hear how I'm speaking to them and the shifts that they need to really overcome to not even just have a business, but to really get into touch with the abundance that's your birthright.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening or watching this episode. And I will see you in the next episode. Don't forget to always text me your aha moments and your feedbacks to +1 401 399 4105. Bye. And if you love this episode and you would love to see more of that, click the subscribe button to Purposeful Woman Podcast. And don't forget to text us to stay in tune with the Purposeful community for awesome tricks by texting to number +1 401 399 4105. And we will link descriptions in the episode to all of that we mentioned today. Bye. Turn your one day to day one with a purposeful day.